How's it going, everybody? Appreciate you for tuning in. We are back. It is Super Bowl week. I can't wait for Sunday as a Patriots fan to see how the game plays out. Throughout the week we'll be doing episodes breaking down different aspects of the game and kind of different things. We'll probably end the week with some fun prop bet type stuff. I don't know. We'll kind of see how the week goes. This episode, I do want to talk about just storylines in general with the matchup. Now that both teams have landed, the Patriots are up in the Stanford area, Palo Alto, that they're practicing at Stanford University. The Seahawks are practicing at San Jose State, down in San Jose, California. So, Media Row, everything is set up. It's all going on. The Pro Bowl games are Tuesday night, which I gotta be honest with you, I did not know. I remember the Pro Bowl games being the weekend before. Now, I didn't see it this past weekend because I kind of just, it's not must-see TV for me, so I thought nothing of it, but it is middle of the week now. I guess that kind of shows how far it's fallen. I wonder if the league will kind of respond to that and do something. I don't know what they can do. Like, I actually don't have a problem with it. They're doing flag football. They're doing these little mini game stuff. It seems like the players are having fun. That should be good enough, but you know how it goes. Fans are never happy, so it is what it is. But before kind of getting into that, I do want to start with NBA. Now, this is obviously supposed to be the NFL's time with the Super Bowl and everything coming up, but there's still days before that. The NBA, their trade deadline is Thursday at 3 p.m., and I will say it has been an eventful day in the NBA with a few moves that, I feel like should kind of get your attention. The first one being Jaren Jackson traded from Memphis to Utah. Now, when you look at that trade, you're probably thinking like Utah, kind of purgatory. Nobody really pays attention to Utah. But I have to say, with the Jaren Jackson trade, Utah has the potential to be kind of an intriguing, wildly interesting team next year. You have a team with Jaren Jackson now. You have Keontae George, who's having a really good season. Lauri Markkanen, Walker Kessler, who I believe is a free agent if they can bring him back. Ace Bailey, who they just drafted. And they're going to probably add another top pick in this draft coming up to next season. The Jazz could be a young team that takes a step next year. We'll see. Like, I do think that's a move that's worth kind of keeping in the back of your mind. Not necessarily for this season, but next season. The next move, Celtics and the Bulls make a trade. The Bulls actually made a couple of trades today. They made the Celtics trade. They made the one with the 3-team deal where they got Jaden Ivey from Detroit. So now, adding Anthony Simons from the Celtics, giving up Vucevic, giving up, what was it? The Herter is going to Detroit. Ivy's to the Bulls. The Bulls now have a unbalanced roster that's very much guard heavy, which leads me to think there needs to be another move on the horizon. Because you're not going to win, even though they're not trying to win, obviously. But you can't really go out there the second half of the season with all of these guards and your big, quote-unquote, big room is Jalen Smith, Buzelis, and Patrick Williams. That's wild. So another move has to be coming, whether it's Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu. There's both of them packaged to get something. Like, the Bulls are letting you know. They plan on doing something else as well. Celtics needed a big man. They got a big man. Was their number one choice. I feel like Zubac was their number one choice, but the Clippers weren't going to budge. Vucevic, not a bad, secondary prize. Offensively. Let's look there. He stretches the floor. As I think he shot 40% from three last year. I think this year he's down to like 37%, but he can still shoot the three. He's actually a really good passer in the middle of your offense. So if you kind of dump the ball into him around the free throw line area, guys can make back cuts off of it. He has the ability to make those passes into the post. So that's something that obviously Missoula's system loves, that the stretching the floor, the passing ability, and then defensively, he's a rebounder. The Celtics, that's been an issue at times against certain teams, is rebounding. Vucevic helps fill that void. So I see why the Celtics made the deal. This was one that was tried, a couple of weeks ago, and the Celtics denied it. Now they found a framework that works for them. So Vucevic, welcome to the Celtics. We will see how that goes once he actually starts playing. But yeah, Simons is now added to a crowded Bulls guard group. So like I said, another move has to be made. And then we're hearing these rumors about potential moves that could happen. Apparently Harden to the Cavs for Darius Garland is very close. Interesting. Garland, past couple of years, has been kind of MIA come the playoffs. Harden has his own moments of going MIA during a series itself. Interesting. That's all I'll say. But outside of that, it's the Warriors are supposedly shopping and listening about Draymond Green. Does something happen there? Ja Morant is now the last man standing from the Bane, Jackson, Morant core. Morant is probably the name that needed to go the most because we've seen it seems like there's a disconnect between he and the team. So we're expecting that to happen. Everybody's looking at Miami. We'll see. The Giannis stuff is still out there where it seems like NBA media is ready for a Giannis trade to happen. Part of me still has some doubts that it actually does happen. Maybe it's something that more likely happens in the offseason. So maybe the Bucks and a team or two get close on the framework of a trade. Maybe they run out of time and it's something that gets revisited in the offseason. We'll see. But look, Giannis could very well, it could be one of those deals that happens like, Thursday morning, like 1 a.m. A lot of people are asleep. You wake up and you go, hey, Giannis has been traded. It could very well happen like that. Or it could be 2:59 p.m. on Thursday. The trade happens right before the deadline and Giannis is somewhere else. It is something to look for. And then, who's going to be that surprise, somewhat big name that gets moved that a lot of people will just look at and go, wow, I didn't know that team was going to make that move. So, trade deadline, there's still a few hours left in it. We'll see if anything else happens. If it does, we'll definitely talk about that next couple of episodes. Now, to get to the main point of the episode, it's Super Bowl week. We're on to the Super Bowl. Patriots are there in the site. They're ready to go. So, just 3 initial kind of storylines that popped in my head with the kind of announcement of the teams landing in California. The first one, obviously, is the one you've heard multiple times. This is a rematch of Super Bowl 49. The Malcolm Butler interception game. You know how it all went down. But, yeah, fan bases are clashing once again. I say that because none of the players from that game are actually involved in this. So that part of it, it's hard to look at as like a true rematch. But for the fan bases, I get it. It is one. So that's the first thing that popped in my head. The second thing, we have defensive-minded head coaches in a league that is so obsessed with offense. 2 defensive-minded coaches have led their team to the Super Bowl. Mike Vrabel with the Patriots, Mike McDonald with the Seahawks, and 2 teams that play really good defensively as well. We've seen the playoff run from the Celtics defense go up against Justin Herbert with all the sacks, C.J. Stroud with the interceptions, and then, Jarrett Stidham with the Broncos and the Blizzard making plays in that game. Seahawks have been a top defense all season, and then stifle a 49ers team that was a little beat up, we'll say, and then beat a Rams team that, for good portions of the year one of the more potent offenses in the league. So defensive minded coaches with really good defenses in this matchup. Is this the beginning of a trend? We'll see, because past few Super Bowls have been strictly offensive guys meeting and offensive guys winning. So this could turn the tide. We know the league is a copycat league, so it's just something that's interesting and caught my eye. Looking at the coaching hires that were there this season that have been filled, all 10 spots at this point theoretically have been filled. Kubiak is going to the Raiders, LaFleur to the Cardinals. So that's it. Looking at the 10, 6 went offensive side of the ball. So LaFleur, the OC from the Rams, going to the Cardinals. Kubiak, the OC for the Seahawks, obviously after the game, will go to the Raiders. Stefanski, 2-time Coach of the Year, offensive guy who used to coach the Browns, now with the Falcons. Joe Brady, OC for Josh Allen, gets promoted to head coach. Todd Monken, OC for the Ravens, now with the Browns. And then Mike McCarthy, longtime offensive coach, Packers, Cowboys recently, now the head coach, Pittsburgh. So those teams feel like this is just a kind of a little blip in the offensive dominant game, but we'll see. Those other 4 teams went defensive. Maybe they're on to something. Catching the wave as it gets going. And then the third storyline was the quarterback matchup is interesting in that Sam Darnold is, 28 years old, I believe. And he can't seem to shake the fact that he was a Jet who saw ghosts in games against the Patriots, which is where that nickname came from, and was a turnover machine. Can this version of New England bring out, I guess, that version of Sam Darnold? We'll see. And, Drake May was the 3rd quarterback in his draft class. Obviously was not seen as one of the higher, obviously not the number 1 quarterback in his class, but, he was drafted behind Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, went 3rd to the Patriots. There were some questions about him as to whether or not, him playing at North Carolina, not a lot of big games in this program's history while he was there. Was he kind of overhyped and all this kind of stuff? Was he going to be as good as those other 2? It's hard to argue against it when he's the first one to make it to the Super Bowl. And then, like I said, Darnold, Jets, and all that kind of stuff. He was taken high in his draft class. But it was also the draft class with Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and Baker Mayfield. So Darnold obviously has been overshadowed by those guys throughout his journey. But once again, like Drake May, Sam Darnold, first quarterback from that class to make the Super Bowl. Despite Josh Allen with an MVP, Lamar Jackson with 2 MVPs, Darnold's the first one to get through. It's one of those fascinating things about sports that keeps it so interesting and entertaining. But, so the quarterback matchup, the team matchup, the stats, I guess Vegas told us, if you thought this was going to be the matchup in the preseason, before the season started, which I know a lot of you probably didn't, I believe it was paying out, was it 60-1 or 600-1, something like that, some long shot odds based off of other matchups potentially you would have seen, then it's an unexpected QB matchup for sure. And so those are just 3 quick storylines that kind of caught my attention with this matchup. Like I said, it's just kind of to kick off Super Bowl week. I will have some more episodes leading up to the game. Obviously, end of the week, doing more predictions and all that sort of thing, prop bet type stuff. But we'll look at like X factors for the game, players to watch, which I guess is kind of like X factors, and kind of like where the game will be won and lost. So we'll kind of look at a lot of that stuff throughout the course of the week. So that's all I got for you. Appreciate you for tuning in. Would love to know from you whether you want to talk about the NBA trade deadline, what move you're expecting, which move from today surprised you. Would love to know. I would love to hear about that. And also, when it comes to the NFL, let me know a storyline for this game that has you intrigued about the matchup, and just how intrigued are you by this matchup between the Seahawks and the Patriots. So let me know down below. Appreciate you. Make sure you check out links and all that. Join the Discord. Would love to see some of you in there where you can talk sports when I'm not obviously recording or live or something like that. So but you enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your week. Until the next time I talk to you, be safe. God bless. I'm out of here. All right? Bye.